Instagram, that is there. Follow us on Instagram, that is Empowerment Talks, and you can go and check out who all have came to Empowerment Talks on the show before. Now, who is the guest speaker for today? So today's guest speaker is Rajesh Pakki. And it's a special day for him as well because it's his birthday. He was born on this particular day on this Mother Earth. So happy birthday, Rajesh,
Thank you
for
very much, Yash. Thank
accepting
you.
our
Thanks a lot.
invitation, come on your birthday and spending time with us on your birthday. So I would love to say from the audience on the YouTube as well as on the Zoom, please wish Rajesh happy birthday because it's his birthday today. He is very much excited. He's shining to deliver us a talk on. And but who is he? He's a sales and debt management trainer, a lawyer, a banker, and a visiting guest faculty on top MBA institutes. He's someone who has tasted everything. He has been into sales, doing into banking, and now into sales. Lawyer, he knows a lot of things that are required for a common man to know about the laws that are there. So I'm very much excited to have the conversation with him on the show on this special occasion of his birthday. So again, happy birthday, Rajesh, and over to
Thank you.
you
Thanks
to
for
take us
all the
with
wishes to
and
you
to
and
all the people who are on YouTube. Over to you.
hi, Yash. Can I start?
Yeah.
Yeah, done. Uh, Empowerment Talks. First, let me tell you, I'm really delighted to be on this platform. Okay, I've seen the couple of all the profiles, or from very good profiles like TED speakers and NLP trainers. But really thankful for you guys giving me an opportunity to tell myself about enhancement and enlargement and enrichment. Okay, they should be, I'm not going to talk something, anything rocket science in this. I will just speak these common things which we generally do. But how do we practice it and how do we come out of this? Few things which will help us both personally and professionally to develop our, skill sets in enable to, to learning skills. Uh, and then coming to empowerment talks before I start, it's really 189 sessions in this pandemic situation. It's a Herculean task. You guys have done a fantastic job and you call it as a team, TEAM. Together, each one of you have achieved more and more. That's really proud thing about you guys. And then the other common word which I log into empowerment of, I listen this word called empowerment of family. Can anybody just something when it strikes your word called family? What does it hit your mind? What that word that comes to your mind? Anybody? When the word family sound comes to your mind, what it hits? Love. Amazing. And then any one or two? Exactly. Wow, Kunain, you are exactly on the answer which I want to tell you. That's father and mother, I love you. Yes. But unfortunately, I don't have father and I don't have a mother. And today is my birthday. Father and mother, I love you. Okay. Now I just want to change father and mother, I love Yash. Thank you, Ash. You made my day. That's really amazing. Now coming to this platform, this team is a glorious glimpse of a glamour and a majestic monument of mirth and miracle that fills everybody's heart with mirth and merriment and certainly makes anybody to feel like giving a compliment. You guys really deserve compliments because you are empowering people. You are giving a lot of scope for people to learn and enhance their skills, enrich their skills. That's really great about you guys. Now, the topic is about enhancement, enlargement, enrichment. Then how do we go about it? Any idea when it comes to professional life to enhance, to do these three E's? Okay, all that you need to have some experiences. All those experiences club together, you build on these three E's. To get those experiences, the basic things, what you guys generally what we have to do is the five important things is planning, coordinating, controlling, monitoring, and then measuring. These are the important things which can help you to build on your tree. And then in personal life, all the Qs, IQ, EQ, PQ, SQ, There are so many Qs. But the most important thing out of all these Qs is CQ, which is common sense coefficient. So I'll be discussing on the common sense coefficient, and to have the common sense coefficient, what are the parameters you need to have? And then when it comes to planning, nobody plans to fail, but fails to plan. But the thing is, sometimes you plan or your plans are quite ambitious. Your plans cannot be ambition with perversion. The plan should be smart. It should be simple, measurable, achievable, and realistic and time bound. Time bound is the most important thing when you make a smart plan or a goal. And then after planning, the coordinating. When it comes to coordinating in professional life, most of us, just send mails, keep sending mails. Okay. And we do not like to coordinate because of XYZ, ego, and other issues within the organization. Okay. We just keep sending mails between each other, exchanging mails. But that's not the thing. If you have the right interpretation skills, if you really know how to actually go and get your works done, for that, if you need to have a good interpersonal skills, obviously your coordination will be much better. When the coordination is in place, when in line, obviously your planning will fall into the place. After coordinating, then the next important thing is controlling. Control. This is one important word, both in personal life and professional life. The word control says very clear. The most loving word for anybody is control, because everybody wants to control others. And the most hating word is also a control. Nobody loves to get controlled by others. So this control mechanism is the most important thing when you are handling your teams, because you need to control your teams in such a way where there is no friction in between us, but the control should be there. Else you will miss the planning and coordinating part. To build in line with planning and coordinating, control is the most important aspect, because control is a very uh, because when you handle a team as a leader or a team leader or whatever, whichever role you are, when you keep controlling people, when they don't like, but you need to make them understand very clearly, we have a goal, we have a plan to set and achieve that. You can't win a horse race riding on a donkey. That's the fundamental thing. But how well you communicate with them, with your communication skills and your interpretation skills, that makes all the difference when the aspect of control comes. Planning, coordinating, controlling. Now monitoring. Because if you don't monitor where you stand according to your plan and your time bound, that's really, it's as good as useless. So keep monitoring, for which regular reviews, both in personal life and professional life. Where am I today? And what am I next? Where do I stand? And what I was before? This is a quite common thing. The same thing in the professional life, the plan also should be monitored. And then last but not least, measured. Because this is strictly linked to the most important aspect, that's control. Because what cannot be measured cannot be controlled. You need to measure what's happening, because based on if it's a success, why it is successful, then you can measure on based on these XYZ parameters, it has been a successful. And if it's a failure, why, where, what went wrong? That's the most important thing. So after this, now coming the other aspects, that's IQ, EQ, PQ, SQ, which many people have already touched. But the most important thing is common sense coefficient. Okay, which so most of the people might be very intelligent. They might be as intelligent as they can, launch a rocket in a space. Fine, that's fine. But the handling people, handling the situations, having the presence of mind, this all comes from the common sense. And common sense comes from your learning and experiences. And for learning, you need to enhance, enlarge, enrich. Again, for which again it is linked to some very good habits like no inferiority complex, learn from others, teach others, read books. When you read books, the most important thing, when you read or learn anything, the most important thing is read, revise, recollect, and then reproduce at the right time. Mostly you read, you revise, you recollect, but maybe you might not be reproduced at the right time. Because again, the presence of mind is connected to this. Once you learn something, you need to put in action at the right time and recollect it and put it at the right time. Generally, you forget, to reproduce at the right time. So that basically, generally in our childhood, it happens in our exams. That's what you know, it's all about 5R theory, which I have, personally thought about this 5R. And then other most important things is uh, ego. Can anybody touch what is ego? Just a thought. When I say ego, ego. Yeah. What it strikes to you? Edging. Well, Kunan, you are on the same platform. What I think you prepared the way I prepared. Edging the god of, yeah, either you would say edging the good out of you. And the three stages of ego. You are egoistic, super ego. Yeah, Jitendra, you are also on the right track. Superiority. So that again comes to super ego. The third and most important thing, when it goes beyond ego and super ego, it goes to ID. That's where you do crimes, because you think that nobody can do anything, and because the disciplinary mechanism and everything is lost, and you do ID. But when you don't have ego, people with ego generally they don't enhance, enlarge, enrich, because they don't like to learn, nor they don't like to teach others, and basically they do these three I's, which is ill-treat, ignore, and they ill-treat you, they ignore you, and the other I just forgot, in the extempore I missed out. Uh, Let me just recollect. Uh, Ill-treat, ignore, and irritate. They irritate you with their behavior. So you need to never get low pitch because of these kind of people when you come across. You need to when you come across these kind of people, you need to have presence of mind and just handle them as it is goes. So finally, I would like to just sum it up with, planning, coordinating, controlling, monitoring, and measuring. And second thing, the most important thing is how you work on your common sense and the presence of mind, and then how to handle people with ego. That's the thing. Uh, that's it from mine. There's a lot more to continue, but time is also a good constraint. People get bored beyond this.
Just a second. Thank you very much, Rajesh, for the short and sweet and impactful talk that you have given it. And you did spoke about the very relatable topics that are there for everybody to talk about. That is about the common sense, that is about the egoistic persons that we come across on a daily basis, like maybe at office, maybe at work, and maybe in all this thing. I would go a bit deeper into your life and want to understand from you, like,
yeah,
the third aspect that you talk about, that was about dealing with the egoistic people. And what about the egoistic people are so close to you that you can't go about changing them, or you can't go about maintaining that distance with them? How do you go about changing those people? Like if somebody is there in the
yeah,
relation,
that's a wonderful
somebody
answer. Change is the one thing which will never change. That's the concept of change. Okay, when it comes to change, it becomes a habit for them to be egoistic, and they derive evil pleasure out of being ego. They think that they're superheroes. Okay, now how to handle these people? Yeah, some people will change, will not change, and it becomes a habit. HABIT. Okay, when you drop H, when I talk about like family, okay, HABIT. If you drop H, a bit is left. If you drop A, bit is left. If B is dropped, it is left. It will be there. They are like that. So only thing is better I transform. Instead of expecting change from them, you expect change. You better change. Better I transform. That will really, makes even an egoist person may start liking you. That happened to me a couple of times. That's the inspiration. And let me tell you one thing. Ego is again related to God, edging the God out. Because of egos, in the current situation, you have a lot of marital issues, and in the official personal friendship with Bob and with your colleagues. Okay, the same person whom they call you as a God, God, God. Once you start behaving egoly, you will become a DOG, dog. As simple as that. So it's up to them how you handle them.
What's the, like, I do understand it, but where does the ego, like, there is one point that is egoistic, and then there people have the confidence in them. And there is a very thin line when it comes to whether I'm egoistic about something or whether I'm confident about something that I can pull it off. And I know for a fact that I can go about telling it. So whether I'm an egoistic person or is it my confidence that is backed by my experience speaking it? And how do you distinguish that person? Because for me, it is a very subtle line. And I cannot say that I'm not egoistic about it, but I can say I can confident about it. So, what do you distinguish when it comes to such
Exactly.
circumstances?
Uh, It's amazing. It's amazing. There's a thin line of difference between ego and the self-respect and the self-pride. When again that becomes a very same thing I said. You cannot, ride on a donkeys and win a horse race. When you taunt your team or somebody, they might think you are egoistic because you are in a boss position and you are doing it. But when you're supposed to do it, you have to do it. That's not your egoistic. That's our confidence, and that's the situation that requires self-respect is required, and self-confidence is required. And now again, there are three stages. Either you cannot be too submissive, either you cannot be too aggressive. You need to be assertive. The one which you are talking about, the role which you follow, is an assertive way of being superiority complex. If you cross these two, when you are, then that becomes an egoistic.
Okay, coming to the SMART goals that you did mention about, that they're specific, measurable, realistic, and they're time bound. Now, do you have SMART goals? And can you
Yeah,
give a brief about people? Like, though we have spoken a lot about goal setting, vision board, and all this on the
yeah,
ET before,
that's
for the
quite
new
common in the
audience,
corporate world. We have that word.
kind of can you give you a brief about people, a little more detail about what exactly SMART goals are?
Yeah,
Because and how do you go about setting them? Because if you have set them, maybe you can explain it
yeah.
through
I
your
will give you
example.
my
And
my personal life example. See, everybody will have your voice is breaking.
okay, I'm just asking about setting up the SMART
I
goals. How did you set up your goals?
Yeah. See, basically, when we do setting up goals, everybody will, I want to be this, I want to be that. That's right from your childhood. These are the fundamental things, or we have been tuned and put onto the thought process that this is what you have to be. Right from my childhood, I only know one thing, that I have to become an advocate. I do not know anything. I just know that I have to become an advocate, for which I developed some interpersonal skills and interpretation skills, which is the most important topic. Interpretation skills which I haven't touched because of the time constraints. Sometime later, these are the things only I know, and the common sense and the presence of mind. Because I'm not good at education, I just know how to clear my 35 marks of clearing the exam. Okay, and people are intelligent because I never had any goal or thought in my mind, because I've been trained and tuned that I will become an advocate because that's our family profession. But all of a sudden, my father expired and my mother expired, and I got a government job immediately. And being from a middle class family, getting a government job in those days, it's like heaven. They don't even mind my father dead. They want me to become a government employee, but I didn't ever take it up because my smart goal was always to become an advocate and do somewhere in Supreme Court down the line. That was my dream. Then, but the situation, I have to join as a clerk and in a government. But I said no, I didn't join. I took up my profession. But when it didn't go well, imagine entire my life dream, life thought, I just want to be an advocate. And I could not be. Then immediately, that's the being smart. You need to change your gears. You cannot sit over a spoiled milk and keep thinking and getting emotional. मेरे को ऐसा हो गया. That will not work out. Then immediately I did my MBA, because that time in those days MBA was the main streamline to get into a job. That's how I changed my goals. Then working in Airtel, and then in all the telecom companies, you name it, I worked in all the telecom companies in India. And then when I was in HSBC Bank, for example, I lost my job. The reason, I mean, I didn't lose, they have holded me back. I was into a customer service. You might be knowing what is customer service in a world's #1 bank like HSBC. You need to be like behaving, whether you are not or yes or no. You are like an Emirates air hostess. Such a pleasant way of talking should be there. But That department got closed because of recession in 2008, if you remember, guys. Then I have been moved to a debt management. That's into collection, which is nothing but to be put it on a straightforward, royal, concept, Gundalism. Go and collect from the people, two kinds of people. People who want to collect, who want to pay, but doesn't have money. And the people who have money, but don't want to pay. Like in sales leads, the propensity to purchase. Most of the people who have done their MBAs, they might be knowing this. Intention to purchase, but no ability to purchase, and ability to purchase, but no intention to purchase. These are the people. And the situation is, I didn't know that, I have to handle with the goons kind of a style of a job. Then I have to change according to the situation. And again, I moved to Fiverr, Act FiberNet. And then after working for 5 years, because of the recession in telecom sector, I lost my job. Then I have come here to in Dubai, and I started taking up sales. Trust me, it sounds pretentious boasting, but the fact remains that my company, the company I'm working, is a 50 years company, and I have done the highest sales across the 50 years. So it's all about how you change yourself and build your relations and communication.
I think it's a very well said thought that for you, someone who has been working variety of sectors, and every time the life has pushed back to you, you have come at the life straight and said, okay, you have closed this door, I'm going to bang another door, I'm going to bang another door, I'm going to bang another door, and get the life moving. And that's a very, very good, things to take about, because you will face a lot of problems in life, and how you deal with it and how you get over it as soon as possible and narrate a good story out of it. That's what matters in life. That's now I would put, like, you wanted to become a lawyer, but things happened in your life and you did. But I love for a fact that you still practice advocating. Do you are still familiar with the laws and all this thing? You still do it. So
Yeah.
why does you still keep on doing it? And do you go about educating it to people, like the daily, like the laws related to lands or marriage or divorce or something like that? You do those consultancy services, I know for a fact. Why do you still do it, and how do you do it?
Because the most important thing, you don't need to touch fire to say that it burns. But if you know law, if you know few basic aspects of law, you can be a very good, people cannot take you for a drive. See, basically, in Indian family culture, most of the ladies, housewives, have been oppressed. They have been taken over for a ride because they do not know how law supports the woman. Okay. Earlier, there was a concept called, love at first sight. But now the situation has changed. Diversity is the first fight. So, and there are so many, women who get oppressed and suppressed and depressed because they do not know what law is. That's one. And for example, coming to the debt management, people do not know how the banks squeeze their blood. How the banks squeeze their blood. When you know law, for example, if you know the current right away, I'll tell you the current situation. If you know about moratorium, which is the recent Supreme Court judgment, moratorium, you don't need to worry about the bank. No bank can do anything to you. It doesn't mean I don't want somebody to be unethical, not paying what he has used. But still you can take time and refrain from, banks taking your happiness. So these are the basic things, and then other concepts like accidents. When you make an accident or when you go to a police station for XYZ reason, people, and I don't think now in India it's getting fined better in police stations with circumstances of situations. People take you for a ride. They will talk bullshit. Okay. But if you know law, even a minimum, this is what, then the way they approach towards you is totally different. So it's always good to have basic inputs about the law. That's always. Law is all about logical acceptance of witness. Okay, for which you need to have logical. Which logical skills? To have a logical skill, you don't need to become a lawyer and study BL or LLB. But to have a logic, again, you need to have common sense, because logic is always called, it is the harlot of human pride and prejudice. You can just change the logic the way you want. If somebody asks me, so is a black color or white color, it's just the way I want situation. So that will help, building up logical skills. Again, I'm just connecting to the topic of enhance, enlarge, enrich. Logical skills is one of the most important skills, which will enhance, enlarge, enrich you along with the interpretation skills.
Now, when it comes to daily laws that a person has to deal with, and a lot of people are not that much, like when it comes to land laws, or when it, like, I'm talking about the basic laws like marriage laws, land laws, and how as a normal human being can you make yourself aware about these laws? Is there some sort of, some sort of platforms are there where they can
Yeah, now
read
everything.
about it?
Yeah, honestly, now you don't need an actually there is something called party in person also. Actually, you don't require a lawyer also if you're really good at it until unless you are handling a very big case. There is something called party in person. A person, he himself can go into the court. You don't need to be a lawyer and you can argue in the court for yourself. Okay, that's called party in person. Okay, for all that you need. Of course, every case cannot be handled just because you cannot say that some professions, some certain things read professional skills. You can't say I will get surgery done by myself and I will treat myself without going to a doctor. At the same time, going to court is good. That's the most important thing. But having said that, the advocates also, there are few advocates, not all the advocates. So, I'm not making any political general statement. I'm taking a specific statement. Advocates literally squeeze money from the clients, literally squeeze money from the clients. If you know how the court works, how little bit of legal knowledge you have, they cannot play around with you.
That's a very, I think,
And
especially in India,
again,
like there's a lot of people
I'm sorry. I'm
who
sorry.
dump in a lot of money to the lawyers, and that's why people are scared of getting into legal matters because of the huge costs associated with lawyers and everything in our country. Especially, like, I would not go into a legal matter because I know for a fact that there's a huge cost of the advocate that would come to
Yeah.
my face. But so that happens. But changing the conversation a bit, and I know you are giving a very different sort of parenting to your kid. And can you tell us a brief about it, because you have shared with me in the past, and the kind of parenting that you are giving to your kid is kind of different from what every other parent gives. So will you be able to share it, or it's too personal for you to share it over here?
No, no, I would love to. First thing, it is my birthday, right?
Yeah.
If somebody asks me what if I am 45 years old now. If somebody asks me what have you achieved in this 45 years? Okay, I can only say one thing. I have a daughter like Sanjana Pakki. That's the only one achievement. Okay.
What's her name? Sanjana.
Sanjana Pakki.
So can you give us a brief about how do you distinguish the parenting from the different child that
Yeah.
is there? Like,
See, I,
what is the most important aspect of your parenting?
yeah, I will tell you. The most important fundamental aspect. I've done my NLP, but under Satish Govindan, who is an NLP coach, okay? But no, because of some situation, I could not get certified in it. But I've been trained in a couple of sessions for NLP. What I learned right from my childhood, what my father taught me, the kid just needs only one thing, freedom. Only thing, the keep moment you keep on trying to make her, you do this, you do that, there ends. Her learning skills. She should learn by herself. She should show interest, for which you need to generate a little bit of interest. Once you generate, then you should be able to in a position to understand whether she is interested or not interested. If she's interested, fine, continue. If she doesn't want, just leave it then and there. Only thing, freedom. Just let them do what they want. That's it.
No, but the other thing that comes with the freedom is whether too
Yeah,
much of a
just give me
freedom.
1 second. I will just I'll switch off my AC income. Just 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
For the other people who want to join in for the Empowerment Talks, I'll be sharing you the links. We'll be having our 200th episode soon. So
I'm
stay
sorry.
tuned. There's a lot coming on the 200th episode of Empowerment Talks. Yeah, coming back to the thing that a lot of people don't give the freedom to their kids because they're scared of whether they'll get into some wrong activities where they have to focus on certain things at a particular time of their childhood. Like, I'm not like there are certain things to focus on when they are 12 to 15, when there are certain things to focus on when they're 15 to 18, and then 18 to 20. But there's this thing about the freedom that most the parents are scared of, that he or she may get into things that he or she may not get into. How do you make sure that they are on that path of that you think is good for them?
Let me tell you one thing. According to me, that's why I keep telling people I have a polarizing effect in my very passionate personality. Either people love me or hate me, but they cannot ignore me. Okay, so there is nothing called in the polarizing effect, nothing called this is right, this is wrong. Whatever you are doing, you feel if it is good, that is right. Apart from the law. So habits, as I told you, if somebody has to do it, they will do it. Again, H is drop, A is drop, B is drop, it will be there. It has to be only self-transformation can bring change out of a habits or addiction. Uh, Having said that, okay, little bit of guidance as a parent is always required. But end of the day, once maybe at this point of time, you can put some pressure on them and you can make them do what you want. But end of the day, once they go about teens and they don't listen to you. Why the hell they have to listen to you? Just because you have just given them life, it doesn't matter. You are a parent, you get respect and you take affection, but you have no right of freedom. That's why I keep telling again, freedom of speech. In Indian Constitution itself, there is a freedom of speech, but there is no freedom after speech. They will screw us. So the freedom is an element which is the most important thing, be it in a personal life or in a professional life. When you give freedom to your team, you will get numbers delivered. When you give freedom to your wife, you will get love and affection. If you give freedom to your kids, you get what you want. Input is equal to output. As simple as that. You give a garbage, you get a garbage.
That's so true. Now we jump to the major segment. You do the sales training and to the management institutes, and you yourself have achieved good targets for your companies and also. So, what is the top three aspects of when it comes to sales? Like, if you want to give three sales tips to people, what would that be?
Actually, I told you, right? Most of my career, if you would have seen in India, it's more of a debt management. It's into collection. Then when I came to Dubai, the first question they have asked me is that you are not a salesperson. Of course, I did some sales trainings in India. That's only reading, Philip Kotler book and talking all the trauma, propensity to purchase XYZ things. That's not the actual experience, okay? But sales and collections or a debt management, the similarity, what we can manage is that when you are handling, first thing, both the places, it is target. It should be, the moment you sleep, you get up, the target should be there. Then how well you drive your team. As I said, while driving teams like you need to be a little bit, not egoistic, you need to be a little, self-confident. That should be the more aspect. May not be aggressive, if required, I'm aggressive, but ideally I would love to assertive. That's important. See, in collections and sales, the questions, it's all again common sense. The fundamental question you ask for your team is how many customers you visited, what is your target, how much you collected, how much you will collect, and what is that you have in pipeline. The questions are same, even in sales. How many clients you have visited, how many said they will buy, how many said they will not buy, why they will not buy. It's all common sense. Apart from the product knowledge and the process knowledge, that's a different area. So because I'm in glass and aluminum industry, there's a lot of process and product specifications. That's a different story, but the fundamentals remain the same, be it collections or in sales. Nobody is asking you to sell a sand in a desert and a fridge to a refrigerator to an Eskimo. That the moment you understand that I'm here to sell or I am here to collect, I keep asking to my question. People don't buy. Is it good or bad? Can anybody tell? You are a sales guy of some product, XYZ product, whatever product, and people are not buying. Is it good or bad?
It's a
Is it
bad.
good or bad? People not buying your product. Bad. Actually, it's good, personally. The reason why if people buy, then why are you here? In collections, people don't pay. That's really good. Because they're not paying, I'm here. In customer service, you have a lot of, SLA, SLQ, SLQ problems. It's good that they have. Otherwise, you are not required for the company. And the most important thing, the collection is slightly difficult than sales. I'm not giving any comparison because I have, as a diversified guy, I have to take any function, anything, the same passion I do it. Okay. Thing is, collections is slightly difficult because in sales, if A is not buying, I can go to B. If B is not buying, I can go to C. If C is not buying, so on. But in debt management, in collection, if A is not paying, I cannot go and knock the door of B. That's it.
That's a very that like so even in my company that I work for, the debt collection and the payment collection has been a trouble recently. And that's so true. You can't go about doing debt collection to every other person. And when the situation has been so gross that the pandemic has created, and the people are saying they give you different reasons, and it's a very difficult job to be in. And I totally respect how you go about training it to people. So give me an example of your visits to the management institutes. What do you go about speaking them, and what was the sort of the response that you got from the speakers, and how satisfied were you after giving those talks?
To be very honest, those were slightly a theoretical kind of a stuff, prepare from somewhere something. But now what all I have told, every single word is mine, my experiences. Every single word, not from the WhatsApp, not from the YouTube, or not from the book. Of course, I have learned from them. I'm not saying no, but how do I, again, presence of mind, remember, recollect, and reproduce at the right time. How I'm recollecting all my experiences and putting on in the current situation is all about now. But those sessions were more of a theoretical because they're all no, budding managers going to, tell them something about the industry, how it works, because their biggest problem, everybody wants experience. The moment you put your resume to go for a job, the first question, do you have experience? Every joker wants experience. How? It's again a chicken and egg problem. I don't get a job until I have an experience. I don't have an experience until I have a job. Everybody wants experience, guy. Nobody wants, of course, now days have changed because situation, campus recruitments have come. I'm talking in those days. I used to really get irritated, Baga, why don't you ask? Everybody wants experienced guys. Then what will happen to all my learning? Why don't you, nobody wants an experienced wife, but they want experienced employees. But they don't understand that it's a chicken and egg problem. Of course, gone are those days now. Now things have changed much better because of the campus recruitment. So I was more focusing them how to talk in interview. See, because in any interview, the fundamental thing, you go for a CEO interview or you go for a normal sales executive interview. If you prepare for 3 questions, you are done. Because again, it's a common sense. That's what I keep on emphasizing on common sense and presence of mind. Because the first question will be, tell me about yourself. Nobody will ask you, do you know Sigma Sigma Vangshu? Or tell me about some war in some time happened, or King Kong. Nothing of that sort. Nobody will ask those questions. They will not ask you about Sigma Sigma Vangshu or Bison Boote. It's good you learn. They will ask you, tell me about you. Tell me about yourself. That's what the first question you need to prepare well.
What are the other two?
2 questions. Why do you want to join? If you're an experienced guy, why do you want to join us and why do you want to leave?
True. Okay, so jumping straight into my last question for the day.
Product knowledge, that is for experienced people like us. That will come into a picture where you need to prepare something and then go. But first, basic fundamentals is these 3 questions.
I loved having conversation. Dude, this was a conversation where I touched on a different aspects of, rather than having it pretty much straightforward to the topic. We've spoken about laws, we've spoken about sales, we have talked about interviews and all. And I loved it that it's happening on your birthday. But the last question for me and for all my YouTube audiences as well is some beautiful words for this platform that we have created, Empowerment Talks. And tell us about your journey in Empowerment Talks. You have been listening to our talks from a long time. And today was your birthday, and today you came here as a speaker. And I really wanted to give you this spot on your birthday just to, it's a special add-on from my side for a special gift. But how has been your journey as Empowerment Talks listener and then going
Yeah.
through the pandemic with us?
Yeah, I just want to, though I'm not yeah, teach to write a romantic poem, but again, I want to repeat the same thing before I close because there are some more people who would have joined. Empowerment talk, it's all about a glorious glimpse of a glamour and a majestic monument of mirth and miracle that fills everybody's heart with mirth and merriment and certainly makes anybody to feel like giving a compliment. Anybody, people who knows about empowerment talks, definitely they will compliment, throw compliments. That's about it. And the most important thing, as you said, you know, once I started, I think I started somewhere at 60th episode. Somewhere I got to know about it through you, your LinkedIn, and other posts. Then I joined and I started listening to it. And I've been seeing the kind of, profiles you are bringing, all TED speakers or NLP trained CEOs, life coaches, XYZ. They have been all, every session is a useful session in one or the other way. As long as you have an interest to learn, it's always every session. But so, what else is required? Learning is the most important thing. Okay, which I strongly believe in. So I learned a lot from many speakers. So it generated interest in interest. But at the same point of time, as you know, uh, uh, I'm like sometimes because I'm from a very schooling background, where I can't even utter a single word of English at some point of time, till my 30, 31 years somewhere. Okay.
It's
Uh,
not the language, it's the message that is important, Rajesh. And
exactly.
thank you very much for tuning into our platform. And thank you very much for all those who are watching us on YouTube. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel and do connect
And
with us on
yeah,
LinkedIn and Empowerment.
and look at me. I'm the most shameless guy.